Hey, welcome back to Fort Wayne Up Close. Man, it seems like it's been a long time, but hey, we're here. Praying for everybody that's going through the hurricane and all the remnants, around the southern part of our country. We got a little rain, a little wind, but we're dry. And today we got somebody that's going to bring the sunshine up inside our studios. I would like to welcome Miss Rohli Booker, our 6th District Councilwoman. Riley, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, JJ. I appreciate it.
Now, as I said, the pleasure is all mine. And anytime we get an opportunity to introduce some of our movers and shakers around the city, we can introduce them to the people of the city. We want to take that opportunity. And with that said, tell the people, who are you? Who is Rohli Booker?
So, as you mentioned, I currently serve on City Council. I represent the 6th District of Fort Wayne, Indiana, which comprises a really big portion of Southeast Fort Wayne.
Okay. And the other thing, you see where our studio is. We're on South Calhoun.
Yes.
We're right across the street from one of the most historic high schools in Fort Wayne.
That's right.
I say that. Where'd you graduate from?
I graduated from Southside. I'm an Archer, class of 97.
All right. There we go. Shout out to Southside, the Archers, alums. We always love having, alums. Yeah. So, not just folks from the South Side of town, but folks that actually graduated from Southside High School.
Really from the South Side. Grew up on the South Side. Graduated from Southside High School. I went to Ball State. I graduated there, and I came right back.
Okay, awesome, and wanted to give back. Now, where does that servitude come from? I mean, is this something that you've always wanted to do?
You know what? I think that either it's a part of who I am. It's what I saw growing up, and my grandmother. She was a woman who was a woman of God, and so she always served in a lot of different capacities. When I went to Ball State, I joined a sorority, Zeta Phi Beta sorority incorporated, and that just deepened my love of like organized service. And so from there, I've always volunteered. I've always served and worked with nonprofits, and now I just have the pleasure and the honor of representing, in a different position, but also still in service.
Okay, that's awesome. But okay, and in addition to wanting to fulfill that passion and dream, what made you want to come back and serve in Fort Wayne? Because we got a lot of young talent and people such as, your age, they go off to Atlanta. They're, the bright lights, big city. Mm-hmm. What made you want to come back?
You know what? I'm a traveler, and I've traveled a lot of places all over the country and the world. And Fort Wayne is home. My family is close. My mother is here, my brothers, some of my good friends. I have 3 sons. And I'm definitely the beneficiary of having a wonderful village. I'm a single mom, and so I get a lot of help, with my boys here. In addition to that, I lived in Indianapolis for over 10 years. So after I graduated from college, I came back here, I lived, and I moved to Indianapolis for a job opportunity. And as time went on and I came home and I visited, I saw the changes that were being made in Fort Wayne. I saw the growth and the development. And when it was time to decide where I wanted to kind of really put down roots with my boys, I decided to come back here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I love that. That means, look, you went out, you experienced some things, and you got to see, you came back, made a conscious decision that this is where you wanted to be. I talk to a lot of people, and you hear folks, they talk about Fort Wayne, what it's not. Mm-hmm. And I always kind of chuckle because honestly what it does is let you know some of the very people that are saying that haven't really been anywhere. So they don't have anything to compare it to,
Not really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But when you've been out, you get, we've talked about cost of living on this show before, right, and raising families and our school system. And I've always said, I don't care what you say about our school system, in Fort Wayne, we don't have a school where it's a matter of life and death.
That's right.
Or where you go, and as bad as you want to talk about any of our schools, we're doing pretty good comparatively speaking to schools around the country.
We are. I agree. I served on the school board for almost 4 years before I was caucused on to city council. So well aware of some of the challenges that, we face in the city as far as education and our school districts, but also the many opportunities that our students have here. Like you said, there are some cities where, it's hard. It's hard to get a quality education at a public school, but that's not something that we are really challenged with here in Fort Wayne.
Exactly right. Now, how'd you get to the school board? Because you're right, you getting off into that's what I wanted to get off into. What got you to the school board?
You know what? I mentioned before, I have three boys, three boys, and I'm raising who will become, amazing Black men. And so the challenges that I think that are unique sometimes to Black boys in school, I'm well aware of those. And so I've always been really active in their schools. I'm on PTA. I'm the one that calls the teacher and sends emails, and I'm volunteering, and I'm doing all these things. So in 2020, the person who I replaced on the school board passed away. And so I had a couple people reach out to me. They know how involved I am. I'm the mom outside with Google Translate talking to other moms at the bus stop, and they reached out to me and said, we think you should put your name in the ring for this position. We think you would be good at it. And I thought about it. I prayed about it. I talked about it to people that I trusted, and I went ahead and did it. I looked at the makeup of the board, and there was not one African American person on the board. And I said, well, why not me? And so I went forward, and I served 4 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome, because we get so many people that talk on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we complain about this, we
Mm-hmm.
complain about that. This needs to be done. That needs to be done. And you actually, instead of being a sideline, you jumped in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Said, hey, I want to be a part.
Yeah.
And then the other part about that too, I mean, how awesome is that people recognize that in you, came up and said, hey,
Mm-hmm.
you need to run for this.
Yeah.
Now, that got you to the school board, people reaching out to you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about you becoming the 6th District Councilwoman.
Okay.
This position became open because why?
Because our former councilwoman, my soror, and Councilwoman Sharon Tucker became the mayor of Fort Wayne.
Okay, awesome. Now, is this something that you kind of eyeballed and had wanted to get off in the city council or county council? Did you have any of those aspirations, or was it a situation that Mayor Tucker stepped up, became vacant? Did people reach out to you, or is it something that you was like, hey, I'm going to get in there?
You know what? It's funny. I'm going to go back to the school board. So when I got on the school board, I think I'd been back in Fort Wayne for maybe 2 years. I had been in Indianapolis, again, like I said, about a decade. And I was in Fort Wayne for about 2 years. And so the people who are close to me know, what I do and who I am and how I serve. And when I got on the school board, I remember an elder coming to me saying, nobody knows who you are. You came out of nowhere. And so I really believe that God placed me in the position to get the position. And so once I was on the school board, I'm a lifelong learner. And so I always want to continue learning and preparing myself, even as I serve, to be very effective and continue learning how I can best represent my constituents. And so I did things like take classes and read and join organizations that were helping me to develop my leadership skills. So one of those is called AVOW. It's Advancing the Voices of Women, which is a nonpartisan or bipartisan organization that prepares women for service in elected positions or to support campaigns or to serve on boards. I did that. The next thing that I did was I applied to be part of a cohort called Hoosier Women Forward, which is a Democratic women's organization that has roots all over Indiana and then even the country, that prepares, again, women who are Democrats in Indiana to serve in elected positions. And so as I was preparing myself for the next place that God would have me, he was preparing, a place for me.
All right.
And preparing me at the same time. And so that's how it happened, that position, it came available. I never sat down and said, I want to be on city council. I want to be on school board. I said, God, use me in service to do whatever it is that you would have me to do. And I just took the steps to prepare so that, when those doors open, I would be ready.
All right. Awesome. Preparedness is key. That's what I mean. Preparedness
It is key.
Is a beautiful thing. And it's funny because, look, I take my pen, I'm going to check off because I was asking you about a vow. I was going to ask you about some of the very organizations
Yep.
that you said, how much they meant to you. Sharon, is she? You were at Vincent Villages. That's what that is.
That's
That
right.
that you work there. Were you working when she was there, or were you under? I know Denise Andolfer was before Sharon, but how was that? I mean, am I seeing like a succession plan? Did you guys have discussions? Talk to me about that relationship.
You know what? I met and connected with Mayor Tucker when I was on the school board. I was in some of the same rooms with her, and so I would reach out to her about just different things. I thought she was a powerful woman in the community, black woman in the community. She was my councilwoman. I believe that it's important for you to be able to reach out to people, elected officials who are connected to you. So I did that. And she was just someone that I knew I could go to and I would get it straight. She would sometimes give me advice, even as simple as you have to be good with the decisions that you make, and so that's where that started. It really just started with me reaching out to have her be an advisor and just someone that I could talk to who was in a similar position as me,
Okay.
serving in the community. And then I did work under her at Vincent Villages before she became the mayor.
All right.
Yeah.
Even in that, I'm hearing you reaching out, kind of a mentorship. A lot of people don't want to reach out. They, as you say, have aspirations of doing certain things. Well, have you talked to this person that's above you? Have you talked to
Right.
people that are where you want to be?
Right.
And no, I haven't. I've been reading. I've been,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
but it sounds like you use all your avenues. You reading, you step outside, you join the groups, you talking to folks that's in the positions. I mean, that alone, has all the makings of a great leader.
Well,
And I
thank
can
you.
say, hey, 6th District should be proud to have somebody, like you. And you think about the history of that position between Glenn Hines and Mary
Yes,
Tucker,
sir.
and now we done thrown Rohli Booker in there. How long you plan on staying? How long you gonna be the 6th District?
My baby is 10 years old. So, I'll be here for a little while, I'm sure. Again, I love my city. I really do. I love what's going on in the 6th District as far as the renewed investment in 6th District and downtown. I like the direction that Northeast Indiana and all its partners are working towards making this the place that people not only want to come and relocate to live, but we want to keep our young people here. And so I'm hoping that I'll be instrumental and have a hand in creating a place that my kids want to also stay and grow and develop and give back to. So I'll be here for a while, I'm sure.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Well, talk to us about some of your plans. What is your vision? What do you see down the road? What would you like to happen?
So right now there are certain things that are already in place. We have the streetscape and beautification projects that have gone on, on Anthony McKinney Commons, and we just finished up Pontiac Streetscape. I don't know if you've had a chance to drive along there. The sidewalks are wider. The streets are a little bit narrower. Some people, like it and some people don't, but it makes it more walkable. It slows traffic down.
Yeah.
Next is Oxford Streetscape. So we have these programs and projects. We have some rezoning things that are in line. All of this is being done to create a nice infrastructure for economic development. My vision is seeing commercial corridors where we used to have them. Pontiac Street. My grandparents used to have a barbecue shop on Pontiac, a barbecue restaurant
Who
on
your grandparents?
Dorothy Booker is my grandmother.
Okay, what's the name of the barbecue spot?
Barbecue King.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
So, so I would like to see us regain those commercial corridors, and we need the infrastructure to do it. Some of that has to do with the zoning. Some of it has to do with supporting small businesses, and business development. So, seeing those commercial corridors, seeing our neighborhoods transform a little bit. I live in Renaissance Point, so I'm not in the suburbs or the outskirts of Southeast. I'm in the neighborhoods, and so I've seen what the investment in housing has done to the neighborhood that I live in. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, I've heard that it was a scary place to live. But now it's a really great neighborhood. We have a lot of working class families and who are just, trying to make it and want a safe, nice place to live. So I would like to see that replicated in different neighborhoods. We have a lot of lots. that are great potential for new housing. And so more developments in our neighborhoods, more investments in creating safe, nice, affordable places for us to live, and then providing those amenities within our neighborhoods as well.
Okay, perfect. I'm hearing I'm hearing the dream, the vision is awesome.
Yeah.
I love everything you said about commercial.
Yeah.
Obviously, folks heard me talk about the lack of inventory in Fort Wayne, period. And then we talk
Yes.
about the south side of town, definitely is an issue. And I know you're right. It's a gang of lots that are around. The city is working with different organizations, different groups to put different houses on there. So yeah, anything to push that along,
Right.
let my background. I do loan mortgages, and I specialize just like you talking about where you live at. Those are the areas that I specialize in.
Okay.
And I'm talking about affordable housing because it's some folks just like you said, working class. You making $50,000, and not having a home that they can afford.
Right.
We have to be able to build some stuff for that family, for those folks to be able to live. When we talk about down payment assistance and things, that is something that's going to be paramount, to get that done. So, I hear, when we talk politics and, that $25,000 down payment, there's programs out there right now that I've told people that it does exist, but it's a first come, first served basis. If they could make that something that is prevalent for any homeowner, now we're doing something. I heard you mentioned small business. Talk to me about your business. And look, I don't know, I mess up the pronunciation. Is it Asa? How do you
It's
pronounce it?
Aza. Yeah.
Asa.
Swahili for powerful. So it's Aza Beauty. And after I graduated from college, I went back to school because I wanted to do something that would allow me to kind of embrace my entrepreneurial roots. Excuse me. As I mentioned before, my grandmother had a barbecue restaurant, and I saw how she was able to have a job but also have that skill set and that that side business, which provided a lot of times when when we needed extra. And so I always saw the benefit of having a side hustle. So I made this an actual business. It is a beauty business, aesthetics, makeup, that sort of thing.
Got you. What I mean, you got something for me, I mean.
You know what? You're practically perfect. Your skin is
Oh,
glowing. Look
listen
at you. I need to ask you what you use.
Asa, how about that?
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is good. But it's funny going back to when we talk about economics and that very family that I'm talking about. They may not have a way of getting that extra income, but an outside job, things of that nature, is what can put you over the hump.
It can put you over the hump. It absolutely can.
Yeah. So I mean, your messaging and your packaging is tremendous. You have something. What's that flyer you got there? You want to share with the folks?
Sure. Yeah. So this is, I don't know where I'm supposed to be holding this or looking, but this is an event that I'm doing. It is a Get Out the Vote event, which is sponsored by a grant from the NOW Foundation. NOW is a national organization of women, nonpartisan, but co-hosted by my good friend Toya T, who is a radio personality here and really well known. But our idea was to reach soon-to-be voters, first-time voters, and just people who really don't believe their vote matters, and have an event to educate them and do it in a fun way. So we have a fall festival theme where we'll have like Instagrammable stations and tons of information. They'll be able to meet some local elected officials. They'll be able to register vote. This is the last weekend before that ends. I think it ends on October the 7th. This is October the 5th from 5 to 8. We're going to have a DJ. We'll be out there line dancing. There'll be organizations out there to help with some of the barriers that people face with voting. So transportation, CityLink is going to be out there. We'll have Fort Wayne Police Department and Fire Department out there. We will have just a food trucks, and that's first come, first serve. So that'll be free. Activities for the kids, but just an opportunity to really educate people and encourage them to get involved. One of the things that that I found out really quickly after I got on the school board was how disengaged people were in like politics or things that are going on, on this part of town. And I understand, like I said, I'm a single mom. I have 3 kids. I have a great village, but I've been doing it on my own for a while, and I know it's a struggle. A lot of times people, they're not worried about who's in office even because they don't realize how much that impacts them. They're worried about getting to work, how they're going to take care of their kids, how they're going to pay their bills and those sorts of things that you really have to focus on every day. So this is an opportunity for us to kind of share that messaging and that information. Like, this is why this matters. It matters who your state senator is. It matters who your city council rep is. And you should know who these people are and be willing to reach out, to them and know where they stand on certain things. So, but I just noticed that people weren't engaged and they weren't voting.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people aren't engaged, especially our younger folks. I've got a son, 25 years old. Him and his buddies. You talk to them about voting, they're looking at you like you're crazy. My vote doesn't count.
Oh, yeah.
So, and again, he's a young man, but then, as like you said, we talk to people my age, and would tell you the same thing. It doesn't matter.
You know what? I tell people, so I had a similar conversation. I talk to every young person I can, especially the ones who have that mindset and, they'll say that. I'm like, you saw that on social media. Your buddy told you that. You heard that at the barbershop, and it's not true. If your vote did not count, people wouldn't be trying so hard to make sure that it does not.
That's exactly right.
Make it make sense. Yeah. And we talk about the history of voting. Like I said, I'm a reader. So it's just African Americans in this country have struggled and sacrificed so much for the opportunity to vote. And it's a shame. It is a shame.
Yeah.
When we don't vote.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, because my line, that's what I tell folks. Not just, you're right. We can look at it right now and see what they're doing to try to discourage folks from voting and keep them from voting. But if it didn't mean anything, why were they taking people's lives that tried to vote?
Right.
People literally lost their lives. Somebody
Yes.
took their life. So,
Yes.
That should be one of these things. Red lights should go off. This is pretty important. But when you talk about things that impact the local level, like you said, can you, give some examples for folks that, that still, they hear you, but they don't hear you. And a direct example, a direct impact of something, in politics that affects a family, a single mom, as you said.
Well, one thing that's actually, going on right now on City Council, we voted to introduce CityLink's budget. So CityLink is our public transportation. They have forecasted for 2025 a $2.5 million deficit to their budget. There is a state code that allows them to raise a special tax levy to meet that budget shortfall. But their budget has to be, it has to be approved by City Council. Now, if there are people on council, if there are enough people on council who do not want them to raise that special levy, and they can't do it, there are, just certain consequences to it. So some of the things that as a city council person has to consider if agreeing to raise that levy is that it will impact other taxing districts, which means that the city of Fort Wayne's budget will be impacted. And so, that's just a big conversation right now. Do we allow CityLink to raise this tax, take a hit on the city's budget, or do we not? And so if they don't, what's going to happen is, based on conversations I've had with leadership at CityLink, and then I'm also on the board, is we'll have to cut services. And when you think about the area of, the city that needs the most services or has the most barriers for transportation, that's Southeast. So we'll have to cut services, which means people can't get to work. That means, people can't make it to the doctor. That means people can't go to the grocery store. Then you have to think about the people whose jobs will be impacted on CityLink. That means they're going to have to let some people go, which also has an economic impact on people too. I mentioned before that there are just so many organizations like Greater Fort Wayne Inc. and Visit Fort Wayne and other organizations and businesses that are really working to make Northeast Indiana a destination to visit, to relocate, and to stay. Again, we want to keep our people here. And they all say that transportation is an issue. Not only do we need to maintain services that we have, but we need to expand them so that we can really compete with some of the other cities in the region that, may have better transportation systems than us. So that's one thing that, definitely impacts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, definitely impacts people's everyday life.
Yeah, we are. People don't get it, but yeah, in Fort Wayne, people own cars and we drive places as compared to other cities where folks don't even own cars, and it's all about that public transportation system.
Yeah, but there are still so many people who are dependent on it.
Correct.
And I know that very well, especially working at the homeless shelter. There are a number of people who depend on that transportation system. We have I have experienced or seen people who struggle getting home from work because the bus doesn't run late enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you have somebody who is really focused on being self-sufficient, maintaining a job, taking care of kids, because you have to have kids to be in the shelter. You have these people who are working to really be self-sufficient but have this huge barrier of transportation. What's going to happen if that bus line, that service gets cut? And with a barrier of transportation, you're limited to employment that's, around you, where you live. Look around Southeast, the job opportunities that we have at Dollar Tree. Dollar General and Walmart.
Yeah.
CVS, places like that. There aren't many employment opportunities that are really going to help a family lift themselves out of poverty.
Yeah.
And so we need transportation to be able to get to other areas of the city.
Yeah, no doubt. And because I know a lot of people, they don't take that into consideration. There's certain jobs that where like as you said, the route stops, and somebody might take it there, and then they walk a whole nother mile to get to their place of employment.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it's only certain shifts they can take, because if they take a shift and the bus isn't running, even walking that mile to that route isn't gonna do something for them. So,
Yeah. So
okay, I got my last question for
Sure.
you. Then we can wrap it up. You've been in what, 3 months, a little over 3 months?
yes.
Okay. Down the road, there's going to be there's a lot of development. Our downtown speaks for itself. It's not just statewide, it's region wide. People commend us, all the progress things are going on. It's nationally known. How are you, or what's your plan, moving forward to balance that progress and everybody? It's a no-brainer what we got going on downtown, versus, hey, don't forget about us over here. How can we keep up in my district with this progress that's going on? What kind of plans do you have, or are you prepared to battle and have these type of discussions?
Definitely. So one of the things that we have going for us Southeast is that we have a strategy that was developed in 2020, and it's like our North Star plan to what we want and what we need Southeast. So it talks about economic development. It talks about, job development, safety, housing, all of that. So I am very fortunate that I have that, that document as a, this is what you said you were going to do for us, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no, I'm very well prepared and willing to have those conversations. If I have to have that, and at some point I'm sure I will. But right now we have a great administration who was a part of that.
Gotcha.
We have people in the city who are so excited about doing the work Southeast, who have a passion for it. They understand that there's been decades of disinvestment in Southeast Fort Wayne, and they're ready to put in the work. I think we have some great people in place. I think now is the time. Downtown development is wonderful. A lot of that is private development. I was on redevelopment commission for about 4 years while I was on the school board as a school board representative. And so I saw how the city partnered, or how they were able to use certain tools to make development easy downtown. And so I know that there are certain tools that they can, or I shouldn't say easy, but make development projects happen downtown. And so they're the same tools that they can use to drive some of the redevelopment that we want to see southeast as well. And because I know what those are, you can't tell me what you can't do for us.
Hey, that's great. You're right. That's utilize that experience.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, you want to go ahead and tell us about your event again? Tell the folks about your event.
So next Saturday, October 5th, Renaissance Point is going to be outdoors from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. It is a fall festival, a get out the vote event, and it is all about making sure you know that your vote and your voice matters. Providing you information about voting, how to get to the polls, how to get your IDs if you don't have those, and basic information that you need to know. We'll have a few elected officials out there kind of mingling. We'll have free food. We'll have a DJ. We'll have activities for the kids. Fort Wayne PD and Fort Wayne Fire Department will also be out there. It'll be a good time, a family sort of event. So come on out if you can.
Hey, sounds like a great time. I'm gonna join. Anytime, that FREE word, I'm there. And anytime it's about educating our community, I'm all about educating the community. And if I can be educated, I'm always looking to gain knowledge. I hope you enjoyed our time with Miss Rohli Booker. It was great getting to know her. She's a charismatic, intelligent, experienced, and a fighter for the people. Who wouldn't want to get her behind her? We wish her all the best. And here we are, Fort Wayne Up Close, ONV. We're out.